Hi, this is David Erler, and this is going to be a prelude to why we do forms. And okay, there are many reasons to do forms. For one, it teaches and it helps to teach stances. And the stances are ways to be that your body needs to be in to have the most power in certain techniques. Okay, and some people will go, well, why do we need that? And the reason is that if you're practicing your forms and you're practicing your stances while you're doing your forms, when you get into a situation where you feel that you have to do this or that or whatever because it's required because you're in a fight situation. In a fight situation, you're going to want to be loose, you're going to want to be fluid, but when you step into an attack, it doesn't matter what the attack is, you're stepping into a stance, and that stance with training will become automatic. And that's really what you want. You want what you're doing to be at the point where you're not thinking about it. Okay? You're doing a punch a certain way, you're doing an attack a certain way, you're doing a block a certain way, and you've done them 10, 20,000 times that your body is now doing what it needs to do automatically. You're doing this without thinking. Your memory process doesn't really need to be in the advanced active mode. It can be in the moment mode. Now, in the moment mode would be, okay, somebody's coming at you with a strike. It doesn't mean if it's overhead, from the side, or whatever. You're going to automatic, without thinking, do the proper block or proper technique against it, whether it be a block or a grab or a throw. And certain things are going to happen in your head that you're already thinking ahead of what your next technique is going to be, but you're doing this pretty much without thinking. And I know it doesn't make sense, but if you ride a bike and you ride a bike often, your feet know exactly what to do those pedals. Your arms know exactly what to do to turn the steering handlebars and so on and so forth, and hit the brakes and da-da-da. You're doing all this stuff automatically. Now, if you practice and practice and practice your fight situations and stuff like that, you're going to be doing all of this stuff automatically. So, I mean, great fighters, they're not thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. They're going, okay, this is what I need to do. This is how he's going to react. And you can set up ahead of time what you want your opponent to do. Okay? You may bring him in by doing a fake or something because you want him to do a high kick where you can trap it, or do a low kick where you can block it and do your next technique, or they're going to throw a punch and you're going to do a block a certain way. You can set up all of this stuff, but each step that you're taking, in doing your fight, every step is a stance. Okay? But at that particular point, you're making your stances fluid. And a fluid movement, just like water, you want the water to take the shape of the glass. You cannot make the glass take the shape of water because it's too rigid. Now, if your opponent is very rigid in thinking, you can set him up and be able to defeat him because you're more fluid, and maybe your practice and your learning is much more advanced. And that's pretty much what you want to get to. So we do forms to practice and get to a point of fluidity. You want a form to flow. You don't want your form to have unflowing stops where it is meant to flow. Okay? We teach the Form 1 as block, punch, block, punch, block, punch. We do this because you want to take that student and say, okay, your low block is in a front stance, so many feet or shoulder width wide, and so many shoulder widths long, and your weight forward and your back leg locked at the moment of what the impact would be. Okay? So it looks kind of strange if you're flowing from one movement to the next movement and there's no timing. Okay? The timing, like the foot and the hand, have to be at a certain spot at a certain time. Okay? Not block, step, or block, put your foot down. Not put your foot down, then block. It is going to be at the same time. You're stepping and you're blocking, and everything's ending up where it's supposed to be at the same moment. At the same moment in time. So when you're at the point where your form is flowing, okay, you're doing the form without having to think other than, okay, I'm doing Form 1. I'm doing Form 2. I'm doing Form 5, 12. It doesn't matter what the form is. But you want each movement to flow into the next movement. Now, if you watch some of the videos on the masters, pick a master from any art, and he has done a particular form 20, 30,000 times. He is not stopping to think. He's not doing pauses where there are no pauses, unless he purposely puts a pause there. Okay? So you can see their fluidity of movement, of going through a form, or kata, if you want to call them katas, or yungs, or it doesn't matter what the name of what you're doing is. You want your form to become fluid. So that's why we practice forms. That's why we do these. We do a set of movements that are designed in a choreographed segment, and you are doing all of the segments, and you want your segments to run together smoothly, not No, you want this to go nice and smooth. Flow into the next one, nice and smooth. Flow into the next one, nice and smooth, and so on. So, practice your forms, practice your stances, practice all of your blocks and all your kicks and all of your grabs and stuff that you are doing in your forms. And by practicing them to the point where you're doing it without thinking, then you finally got it. You finally got it. You want to be at the point where you're not looking at somebody else. You're already ahead of the class, but you want to keep it at a certain... Every form has a rhythm. Form 1 has the most simplest rhythm at all. Dot, 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 dot. Through the entire form, it has its rhythm. Other forms have rhythms that are fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, 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 slow. But you have to know the rhythm of the form and make your rhythm of the form fluid. So one movement or one section of that form, whether it be fast or slow, moves into the next section without any lost effort, any lost power, and so on. Okay, so keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next video.